TikTok might be back in India sooner than you think. So, if you have any regrets for not doing cringe trends and dances, amassing a following, and then living your best life as an influencer, life might be giving you a second chance. US President Donald Trump stated that the US and China have a deal that would keep the short video app TikTok operating in the United States.
Deal on TikTok. I've reached a deal with China. I'm going to speak to President Xi on Friday to confirm everything up. We made a very good trade deal, and I hope good for both countries, but a very different deal than they've made in the past.
What companies are going to
We'll be announcing that. We have a group of very big companies that want to buy it. And, you know, the kids wanted it so badly. I had parents calling me up. They don't want it for themselves. They want it for their kids. They say, if I don't get it done, they're in big trouble with their kids. And I think it's great. I hate to see value like that thrown out the window.
So auto executives.
You know, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars.
Later, during a US-China business bilateral in Madrid, it was confirmed that TikTok's US assets will no longer be controlled by Beijing's ByteDance, but by a powerful American consortium, Oracle, Silver Lake, Andreessen Horowitz, 80% US owned. The platform, with 170 million American users, dodges an imminent nationwide ban.
中方之所以同意与美方达成相关共识，是因为我们经过评估判断，这种共识符合双方的利益。
The reason why the Chinese side agreed to a consensus on TikTok is because, based on our assessment, we come to the judgment that such a consensus is in our mutual interest.
Now, let's fast forward to India, the land where TikTok once ruled with 150 to 200 million users. Since June 2020, TikTok and 58 other Chinese apps have been persona non grata in India, banned after the Galwan Valley clashes. National security, sovereignty, espionage risks. The ban was more than a regulatory action. It became a digital symbol of India's pushback against China. By January 2021, it was effectively permanent. So, here's the big what if. What if TikTok is no longer a Chinese-controlled app in the US? Could India justify its ban? Could a platform, now majority owned by US firms, pass Delhi's security sniff test? On paper, it sounds plausible. The US law that forced ByteDance to divest was built around the very same fears India cited: data harvesting, surveillance, sovereignty. If Oracle and Silicon Valley heavyweights are running the show, the Chinese espionage angle evaporates, at least technically. That might give New Delhi cover to say, this isn't the same TikTok we banned in 2020. But politics rarely runs on paper logic. The Indian government has repeatedly clarified, right up to 2025, that there's no plan to restore TikTok. No hidden memo, no quiet plot test. All such rumors have been labeled false and misleading. Why? Because for India, the ban was never just about one company. It was about China and ByteDance, even after it still exists as a parent company in Beijing, unless Chinese regulators sign off fully, and they haven't yet. The Indian security narrative remains intact. Another reality, the ban created a whole new ecosystem. Moj, Chingari, and a dozen other Indian short video startups rose from TikTok's ashes. YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels tightened their grip. The influencer economy rewired itself. Lifting the ban wouldn't just be a foreign policy decision. It would hit domestic companies and entrenched global competitors who filled the vacuum. And even if TikTok's US entity is American-owned, would India get a completely firewalled, non-Chinese version? Would Indian user data be stored in country? Would the algorithm, the real magic, be transferred out of Beijing's reach? Those are the questions New Delhi would grill any returning platform on. And right now, there's no public evidence the answers exist. So, the more likely scenario, TikTok's American rebirth may save it from extinction in the US, but it won't automatically open India's doors. The ban here is still a geopolitical scar, unless the Modi government sees airtight proof that Chinese hands are off the wheel and gets a political upside for reversing course. The ban probably stays. In other words, TikTok's US liberation is a game changer in Washington, but in New Delhi, it's just another headline. The app that once ruled India's feed is still locked out, not because of code, but because of trust. This is Rutrashish Kanjalal for India Today Global.